If someone can predict your emotional reaction, they already own you. They don't need authority. They don't need power. They don't even need bad intentions. They just need to know what moves you. Because the moment your reaction becomes predictable, your freedom quietly disappears. This video is not about tricks. It's not about social games or clever responses. This is about the internal mindset that makes all manipulation fail by default. Welcome to the mindset that makes you impossible to manipulate. Why reaction is the real weakness. Manipulation always happens in real time. A comment, a look, a delay in response, a subtle accusation, a shift in tone. The manipulator wants one thing, your immediate reaction. Because speed favors emotion, the moment you react without space, you surrender control of the situation. The unmanipulable mindset does something simple and rare. It delays, not to appear strategic, not to look superior, but because it refuses to let emotion decide timing. Silence becomes a filter, time becomes armor. When your response doesn't arrive on schedule, the other person loses their script. Confusion replaces confidence. Pressure replaces control. Most people rush to respond to prove awareness. Powerful minds wait to decide if a response is even necessary. The need to be understood is a trap. One of the most exploitable weaknesses in human psychology is the desire to be understood. People explain themselves not because it's required, but because misunderstanding feels threatening. Manipulators know this. They imply, they misinterpret, they twist words just enough to trigger explanation. And the moment you explain, you enter their frame. The unmanipulable mindset accepts a brutal truth. Not every misunderstanding deserves correction. When you are internally grounded, other people's interpretations lose their power. You don't need agreement. You don't need validation. You don't need to clean up false narratives immediately. Clarity inside removes urgency outside. Emotional defense reveals more than silence. Defensiveness is often mistaken for strength. In reality, it's exposure. Every unnecessary justification communicates insecurity. Every premature defense suggests something to hide. Manipulation thrives on subtle accusation, not direct attacks. Those are easy to handle. But implications? The unmanipulable mind doesn't chase accusations. It doesn't rush to correct energy. It understands that authority doesn't argue itself into existence. Silence forces the other person to reveal intent. Speech often hides it. The core mental configuration. At the core of this mindset is not aggression or dominance. It is self-containment. First, discomfort is tolerated instead of relieved. Awkward silence, emotional tension, unresolved moments. These no longer trigger reaction. Second, emotional closure is not chased. Not every interaction needs resolution. Needing closure hands control to whoever withholds it. Third, inner access is restricted. Pressure does not earn transparency. Emotion is shared by choice, not by force. Fourth, value is never proven through speed. Urgency signals need. Calm signals authority. Fifth, false perceptions are not always corrected. Sometimes letting someone misunderstand you removes their leverage entirely. Sixth, internal boundaries are not negotiated. When a line is crossed, access is reduced, quietly, permanently, without explanation. These are not behaviors, they are defaults, and defaults are what manipulators can't bypass. Why this mindset feels cold to others. When you stop reacting, people notice, not consciously, instinctively. Those who relied on your emotional availability feel distance. Those who benefited from your explanations feel frustration. Those who tested your boundaries feel exposed. You may be labeled distant, detached, unemotional. None of that matters, because manipulation requires access, and access has been removed. The final paradox. The paradox is simple. The more you try to protect yourself from manipulation, the more manipulable you become. Awareness creates tension. Tension invites reaction. True immunity comes when there is nothing left to exploit. No urgency, no emotional dependency, no need to be seen a certain way. When your inner state remains unchanged, the game ends automatically. No confrontation, no victory speech, just quiet control. Most people spend their entire lives trying to protect themselves from other people, from manipulation, from judgment, from control. They change how they speak. They soften their words. They explain their intentions, they manage impressions, and yet, the more they try to protect themselves, the more exposed they become. Because every adjustment reveals something. Every explanation leaks information. Every emotional correction opens a door. The mind that is impossible to manipulate doesn't build walls. It removes entrances. At a certain level of inner discipline, you stop asking how to avoid being controlled and start asking a much darker question. What in me is still accessible? Because access is the real currency, not intelligence, not confidence, not dominance. Access. Who can reach you emotionally? Who can rush you? Who can pull reactions out of you? Who can disturb your inner state with words, silence, or pressure? As long as someone can do that, they don't need power over you. They already have influence. The unmanipulable mindset understands something most people never do. You don't become free by resisting pressure. You become free by becoming irrelevant to pressure. When someone tries to provoke you and nothing happens, when they imply something and you don't clarify, when they wait for a reaction and you don't deliver, something breaks. Not in you, in them. Because manipulation only works when there is movement to exploit. And when your inner state does not move, there is nothing to push against. This is why silence feels threatening to insecure people. This is why emotional restraint is often misread as arrogance. This is why calm is confused with coldness. They are reacting to the absence of access, and that absence feels like loss of control. Understand this clearly. You do not need to dominate conversations. You do not need to win psychological games. You do not need to prove strength. Those are behaviors of people who still need outcomes. True mental power is quieter. It shows up as patience where others rush, as restraint where others explain, as stillness where others react. It shows up as a mind that does not chase relief. Because most reactions are not chosen, they are attempts to escape discomfort. Discomfort of silence, discomfort of ambiguity, discomfort of not being understood, discomfort of not being validated. The moment you can stay inside that discomfort without moving, without speaking, without correcting, you exit the manipulation cycle entirely. Not because you are stronger than others, but because you no longer participate. And that is the part most people never reach. They want techniques, they want phrases, they want strategies to handle people. But the highest level of control is not interaction. It's withdrawal of inner permission. Permission to affect you, permission to rush you, permission to define you. When that permission is gone, manipulation becomes impossible, not through effort, but through irrelevance. So if there is one thing to take from this video, let it be this. The goal is not to harden yourself against the world. The goal is to become so internally self-contained that the world no longer has leverage. When your emotional center is no longer negotiable, no one can bargain with it. When your reactions are no longer predictable, no one can plan around you. And when your mind no longer needs anything from the outside, you become untouchable. Not loud, not aggressive, not visible, untouchable. In the next video, we'll explore why showing emotion makes you predictable and how even positive emotions can be weaponized against you. For now, remember this. The strongest mind is not the loudest, not the hardest, not the most expressive. It's the one that does not need to move, and a mind that does not move cannot be manipulated.